What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast. I'm here with a good buddy, Riley Bowles. He is a junior fish and wildlife major from San Antonio, Texas. He is one heck of a boy, a good country southern boy.
You're going to make me blush.
Oh, shucks. No, and we are here to talk about Jesus, everything he's been doing in our lives, and just like guiding us through college ministry. This guy's got one of the biggest hearts I ever did seen. Oh, shucks. And we'll get into that a little bit. But before anything else, let's just pray in. Dear God, just thank you for today. Thank you for Riley. Thanks for bringing us together, for our friendship and how much I've been blessed by it. Thanks so much for just giving us time to talk about you and all these experiences that hopefully can be used to magnify your name and make your gospel known, that we can proclaim who you are to the world. And whoever listens to this, I pray that they would just be built up and encouraged and maybe just entertained and have a laugh or two about this. So in your name we pray. Amen. Oh, man. So forewarning to anybody listening to this, whenever I talk with Riley, we get a little bit southern.
Neither one of us are southern, but we sure let it out for some reason.
No, and it's funny because like neither of us are actually like super country.
Oh,
but that's just like the code switching that we do. Like whenever you and I get into a room, it's like, well, howdy, sir.
Well, howdy, sir.
It's just
I'm even Cuban. I'm not even in the country. I don't even know where that came from. That is true, though. I never thought about that. We do really get into the southern mode.
We feed off each other in that way. I think that's the fault of our friend group.
Oh, yeah.
No, because they entertain it. But,
oh, yeah.
So and it's just a force of habit at this point. We'll probably like talk normally eventually, but
you're gonna hear a lot of.
You're gonna hear a lot of this.
For those who actually have country accents, I'm sorry.
At Gare Bear.
At Gare Bear. I swear I don't have an accent.
Oh man, we got a buddy of ours, I guess more of a buddy of yours, named Garrett.
Yeah,
and he's from Kilgore, Texas?
He's from Kilgore, Texas, and it's like for those who know the area, it's east Texas.
East,
and
Louisiana east.
He doesn't recognize. You can hear his accent a little bit.
Yeah.
We'll give him a little bit of. We'll mess with him a little bit.
No, we never mean it to be insulting. It's just funny.
It's all funny games.
I like it.
Games.
Yeah, more than that, we get into our broliness.
Oh yeah,
no. our sort of manliness.
Broly mammoth.
Broly mammoth.
Broly mammoth.
Abraham Lincoln.
Broseph Stalin.
Broseph Stalin. Brosephine.
Brotato chip.
Brotato chip.
Brotato chip.
Oh, Bromigo.
Bromigo.
Bro cheddar cheese.
I can't get over. I was telling Cody beforehand, my boss at my job in San Antonio, he tried to say a bro one, but for some reason he had Ulysses S. Grant on his head, like his mind, but he couldn't think of like a way to like put
it together.
So he's like Ulysses S. Bro, because I gotta go to my meeting. Walked away.
Barack Brobama.
Teddy Roosevelt. I think you said that one.
Yeah,
right?
Teddy Roosevelt.
Say that one.
We got that.
We did.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. Eleanor Roosevelt. All the Roosevelts.
Man, I gotta brush up on my bro.
Yeah, just
I gotta
bro
look
history.
At the Broly Bible.
The Broly Bible. Get some, I don't know, of the Broly spirit. Some Broly communion.
Broly communion.
Oh gosh. Reps for Jesus.
For Jesus.
Oh, it's good. No, it's just a good loving spirit when we're in the room together, and I love it.
Amen. Amen.
Amen, sure. But yeah, I mean, all kidding aside, you're a bit of a country bumpkin. Fish and wildlife major over here.
I am.
True ag.
I am a true ag.
But how did you first kind of figure out? Well, because you've gone through a bit of a journey, but going through fish and wildlife as a major, and then kind of deciding maybe this isn't what the Lord has for me. Can you walk us through some of your story, just these past couple of years, and what that's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. I started off. I was in a transition program to get into A&M, and so they're called Gateway. And I passed that, and then I was officially a student in the fall of my freshman year. But you start off as a general studies, so you don't actually have a major. You have to
undeclared.
Undeclared. But I talked to the advisor at the Wildlife and Fishery Department, which I had a buddy of mine who also did that and was really into it. He really loved it, and he said it would be a good major for you. for me, because he knew I love animals and had a passion for wildlife. And it's funny because his selling point was the dude. the main guy from Dude Perfect, Ty, I think his name's Ty with a beard.
What?
He's an A&M grad, and he has the exact same major as me. He's like, dude, be perfect.
Gotcha. Dude Perfect.
But I joined that, and then it wasn't until this year, the beginning of this semester, I decided to go into ministry.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of personal events, personal journeys. I was going through a lot of personal struggles, a lot of things happening in my own life. And it was one of my good buddies, Colby. He was talking to me and said, dude, have you ever thought that, like, you want to go into ministry? Because it's been my passion. I want to serve people and be as helpful as I can to anyone who needs it. And kind of be the big brother for those who don't have it.
Gotcha.
And I never thought about it, and I prayed about it. And then it's kind of weird. It's a God thing. More and more people start talking
telling
to
you the same
like,
thing.
Dude,
I feel that.
You really should go into ministry. And it so happened that upcoming week, we had a Wednesday night chapel, and I was the speaker that day. It was a student speaking night. And I spoke, and I gave my testimony, and everyone all of a sudden just came up and was like, dude, I could so see you doing this.
Right.
I mean, I'm a goofball, guys. You know? Like, I'm the hugest goofball, but they said, like, dude, I could totally see you doing, like, youth ministry or, like, even college ministry and relating. And that was the final point.
Well, because you're a goofball, but you're so sincere. And I think there's a difference between being sincere and being serious all the time. Oh, yeah. Because, I mean, whatever you do, it's really you talking. Like, when you ask somebody, hey, how are you doing? You're not just messing around. You're, like, genuinely curious, which I love. You know, just like as your friend, having to get, like, you know, talk to you for a while. It's just like you definitely have that like free spirit about you, but it's also like, I mean, you know how to comfort people and you know how to like serve them and you want to serve them because I mean, so you're the men's chair at Wesley.
Yeah, so last year I was men's chair. Now I'm the chairman this year.
Okay.
So I swapped spots.
Swap.
So I went flippity flop. So I was men's chair, and that was that was basically guys' night.
Gotcha.
We just had fun. Like one time we went skeet shooting with all the guys, and it was a good time.
Ooh.
I had a couple of girls who wanted to tag along. I was like, you know what, that's fine. Come on along.
Yeah.
We did barbecue. We did overnight barbecues and stuff like that, and just godly guys, just getting together, having good fellowship. Just talking about Jesus, talking about our relationships and friendships and fellowship and all good stuff.
Bro, that's so amazing. Well, and you got into that. I mean, you were applying for the spring of your freshman year, right? And so like you kind of knew, maybe not from the get-go, but really quickly, hey, I don't only want to be plugged in here at Wesley with the foundation and stuff like that, but I want to be able to like play a part in the awesome ministry that's going on here, which is like, that's the goal that I think we should all have coming into college. Is not only do I want to get plugged in, not only do I want to make my faith my own faith, as opposed to like, your parents' faith or the youth group faith, and not to knock any of that, but it's like you really do want to have that spirit of independence, not only attending but serving as well. So it's like,
oh, absolutely, no,
admirable.
I don't know. It's just you get this feeling. I like to think it's like the Holy Spirit just kind of calming you. You have those calm moments. You're not anxious. You're not too overexcited. You just feel at peace. Yeah. And I found my niche. I really did. I'm very blessed that I did, and I feel like God has a niche for everybody. Where you're supposed to be and where your plan is, His plan for you is, and God just helped me and literally led me there to the Wesley Foundation. Right. And I found my place. The funny story about that is that I was looking at on the A&M campus. There's nothing but these like little not trifolds, but I can't think
pamphlets.
The pamphlet, yeah, right. And there's these cardboard ones that are outside the main dining hall, the Sabisa.
Right, I know what you're talking about.
And
the street signs. And,
yeah, exactly. The only one that was this baby blue, as my pastor says, Methodist blue. He goes, the only Methodist blue one. And I was like, oh, that's kind of different. And I looked, and I literally go, oh, that's kind of cool. I go to the Methodist church. My mom's Methodist. Yeah, I'll go check this out. And literally, I couldn't find the building. It's so hard to find. I was like, where is this place? Right. And I literally followed the blue signs to the church. And I was like, oh, wow, God's literally leading me to the church.
Yeah. God, I need a sign. Or like 6 of them.
Oh, gosh. I kid you not. I kept going down the wrong street.
Oh, Tauber versus like Old Main?
Right there. So I kept going down. I don't know if that's Tauber. It's we're in the Antonio's is
Yeah,
that little
Old
pizza-
Main,
Old
because that's
Main.
what we're on. Yeah.
I kept going down there, and I was like, where
is
is
it?
this place? And then I saw the Methodist logo on the Methodist church, which is across the
UMC,
street.
yeah.
UMC. I was like, that's got to be it. And they're like, nah, son, it's over there.
It's on the other side of the street.
over there, and I went the wrong. It was fun.
Bro, no, because I remember that's actually how I met you. Remember, is like it was the Sunday right before the first day of class.
And it was, yeah.
And like there was the Sunday night chapel that y'all do.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I need some food and a little bit. I need some fellowship, and like I was still like looking for a church. I hadn't found the chapel yet, and I was like, okay, let me just try out this service. Looks pretty cool, and then like. Went through it. I was like, okay, I can like the vibe. Was still like wasn't comfortable. It was just like new. It's really like you're really anxious going in when you're church hopping.
Oh, it's always It's always anxious.
It's just all that anxiety. But then like afterwards, like I remember like immediately talking to you, and you just like had those like the goofy smile on your face, like, hey, where are you from? And I'm like, San Antonio. You're like, dude, no way.
Because at Wesley, there are no people from San Antonio. So they nicknamed me San Antonio all the time. San Antonio. And so like I was like, bro, that's right then and there.
No, yeah, because it was just like there, and it was like this weird bro. I was like, okay, this guy's cool. I might just like come back to say hello to this guy, and then like. The next morning, like 8 a.m., my first 8 a.m. with McGinnis and like history 105, when it was like, it was so funny because that class was like the epitome of like what I thought college was going to be, where it was like you had lecture where 40 people showed up. And then no one showed up to lecture. It was 8 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday. It was your basic course. You just immediately figured out, okay, who's going to skip class, who's going to stay in class. And it was like 40 people on lecture day, but then on test day, it was like 150.
Oh, at least.
And I was the whole auditorium was filled. Yeah, because I was wondering for the longest time, like, McGinnis, like, why do we have such a big room if there's only like 30 of us? She's like, oh no, the section is actually like 120 something, but a lot of people don't like to go to class. Dr. McGinnis is British.
Very British.
And she is, it's the most beautiful voice. I love her so much.
The bonus question on our last exam was, what was my favorite English word?
Weed whacker. Okay, yeah, we have to like explain that because like Dr. McGinnis, she was like trying to show us just like, the differences in cultures and everything like that, and like kind of comparing the UK English to like American English, and they're completely different. So it's like you have the trunk versus the boot, you've got chips versus fries, and she's like, now, for extra credit on the test, I'm going to tell all of you at lecture my favorite English American word. It is weed whacker. And she had like, it was like saying wheat thins from like Family Guy. She had like an H on it. I was like, weed whacker.
Weed whacker.
And I was like, Dr. McGinnis, okay.
She had the biggest smile on her face.
Yes. I'm like, oh, she's so nice.
She was so sweet and so funny. And just so nice, and like she was the one of the few profs I've had that like remember people's names.
Oh yes.
Like if you were consistently there, like she would call you. It's like, Cody, what are your thoughts on this? And I was like, that's not common.
I know. Well, it helped that we were like one of the like 20 people in that class.
Yeah.
And then like we also sat in the front and like came every day. So it was like eventually, and like I guess we'd like kind of answer questions here and there, but it was like.
We would input. We
would input a little bit.
I think she always went to you because you stuck out the most because that was back in your Mohawk days.
Oh gosh.
Cody's one of the few people I've ever met that pulls off a Mohawk.
Yo, it was honestly no, because I still have it on both my Texas A&M ID and my
it really
university
still on your ID?
Yeah, look.
No.
Look. If anyone wants to see it.
That's beautiful.
No, and guess what? It's also on.
No, it's not on your driver's.
It's on my driver's license.
I didn't know it was on your ID, but I thought you got it changed. But then I didn't know it was on your driver's license.
No, and I totally like it's like $1 to go in and get another one. But I'm just like, nah, the story's too good. Because like, okay, the only reason, and I guarantee you, like, this was legitimately the only reason I got a Mohawk was to mess with my mom. Because I just like I thought about it. I think I was watching like the A Team or something, and I see Mr. T with the Mohawk, or you see like Chuck O'Dell with the Mohawk, and I'm like, hey, Mom, you think I could pull that off? She's like, don't you ever do that. And I was like, why? I'm 18. And then she's like, I'm not paying for it. And it's like $13 for a haircut. So I'm like, okay. So I went and I got it. Like, it was before like church's mission trip too. So like I came on the mission trip with the mohawk. I went into like fish camp and impact with the mohawk. So like everybody's first perception of me was just like this super edgy individual. And I'm like, hi.
I remember seeing you. I was like, man, this guy. I honestly, I didn't think edgy. I thought tough guy. I was like, dude, this guy's got to be a boxer. You know, he's got to be like an MMA or a wrestler. And he comes up and he's like, bro, what up?
No, there's like this side hugs and everything. Like, what's up, bro, Migo?
What's up, bro, Migo? I was like, all right, I can dig it.
LOL. Court for short was like, okay. Hi. No, that was, well, because it didn't really last all that long actually coming to college. It was more like a summer cut type of thing.
Yeah.
But it was just like the fact that like most everybody, even now, that knows me only from like the start of freshman year of college to now, remembers me with a mohawk, and they think that was like a long phase. It was like a month. It was just a month was what it was.
Like, it grew out throughout the class.
Yeah,
too, when
or
we
the
were in
sides
organist.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
And so I mean, I got it like I redid it, so it was like even and stuff. Because otherwise, it was just like poop. So I started. Yeah,
That was. I'll never forget that. And then you're like, it wasn't until like probably what, sophomore year?
Yeah.
When, like late sophomore year, you're like, dude, it's on my ID. And I was like, I lost it. I lost it somewhere.
No, it's funny because okay, so this is how short of a phase it was. When I went to my new student conference, I didn't have it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so that was
That was short.
That was short. That was like either late June or like early July.
Yeah.
I remember, actually, okay, I might have, but I remember like I couldn't get my ID at my new student conference because I like didn't bring the right stuff or whatever. And so like I kind of got a talking to for that because like I was unprepared, which I was. But then like during Howdy Week I had to go to GSC and get it. And of course by then, like a month and a half later, I definitely had it. But it was... Yeah. No, and the only reason it's on my driver's license was because I went to England as like my senior graduation present. Yeah, like super privileged, you guys, but super blessed as well. And then like when I went to England, they check your passport, they check your driver's license to make sure it's like not fake or anything. And my driver's license was like 6 months expired because my birthday's in January, and I was like, I never got it renewed. But like I got my expired license through airport security like 3 or 4 times internationally. I also got my pocket knife through international airport security.
What?
On the way there and the way back.
Dude, and they busted me for hand lotion.
I think they busted my dad for like toothpaste that was too big, and I got my pocket knife through, and I was like, thank you.
It's my uncle's a cop, and it's funny to see him like go through the airport security just because like he shows his badge. He just shows his badge, and they're like, all right, go on ahead. And then I got busted with little lotion.
That there's funny. Yeah, that's a little bit of our personal history.
It is, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that class was like where I met you. But like before then, it was like through church, bro. And like the only reason like we knew to sit together, like we might have sat together had I not seen you before, but like I think we just like kind of locked eyes and we were like, oh, no way!
Yeah,
like we're gonna be friends now. Like it's gonna be a thing, and it's worked out pretty well so far.
Absolutely.
Buffalo buddies.
Buffalo buddies.
Boom.
Boom.
Boom jiggity.
Boom jiggity. I don't know where you get half of your lingo. You come up with stuff in it. It works though. I don't know how it works every time.
I don't know. It might be the semi pro rapper in me.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's okay. Yeah, because English major also. It's just like, yeah, that sounds right.
It sounds right. It works.
I can use it. People won't call me out on it. It's fine.
It's fine.
Yeah. But no, it was really interesting to get to know you through class. But then also the Buffalo Buddy thing didn't quite start until like our spring semester freshman year.
Right, yeah.
But it was like you were probably one of the first and few like accountability partners that I've ever had in terms of like just like personally going through life together and like stuff like that. And that was like big for me because like I'd heard about it, like heard people preach about it for so long, and I'm like, I've got friends, we talk about Jesus on occasion, this is fine. But it was the first time we were like, bro, every single week we're gonna meet up and we're gonna talk about what's actually going on. And we're like, that was that's been a big help.
Oh yeah, you were the first person when I really got serious with my girlfriend. Now
Yeet.
you were the first one I would tell like what was going on in our relationship.
Totally, yeah, I remember that.
And
The pre-Emmy days.
Well, it was just funny.
The Premi days.
The Premi. What was it? I think we just got done. I think you were studying or about to go to the gym, and I just got done, and we met in the middle.
That's right.
And I just told you that I went on my first date. Or I finally asked her. I asked my girlfriend.
That's right. Because you did the cute little note thing.
I did.
You made her write it.
Right. Yeah. Oh,
Tell everybody about that.
That's a trade secret. Sorry.
Trade secret. Tell us.
That's copyrighted.
Copyrighted.
All right. I'll sue you if you steal it.
Okay.
But no, you were the first person I talked to because I was also going. I went through a really bad breakup. Mm-hmm. And then you helped me through that, and then once I finally got better, and you helped me through it. That was when you started helping me, making sure I was going a godly path, and thinking about this logically, not just
emotionally.
Yeah, not emotionally going and.
Because you're cute.
Like June, buddy.
Oh, thanks.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Well, I say.
I do declare. This boy's a keeper. Yeah. We're okay.
I don't even know how that started.
The yee.
Well, I know, I know it got popular, but we are the most uncountry people ever. Yet we still do it all the time.
Yo, I wear boots now. It's yeah, because remember okay, so we went to Harry's freshman year quite often and stuff like that. And I'd wear my Chucks.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, because and I can dance and everything. I'm not freaking uncultured. Mm-hmm. But going to Harry's, it's you gotta have your boots.
You got the wood floors. It sounds good when you stomp.
It sounds good when you stomp. You're nice and smooth and everything. Mm-hmm. And so I remember I was just for the longest time I'm no, I'm a city slicker. I ain't gonna buy no boots and stuff like that. And then lo and behold, a month later, over the break, she's hey guys, I got a $200 pair of boots.
I remember you texted me. I was I was so proud because I took credit saying that I converted you.
Yeah, it was you and my buddy Dalton from back in San Antonio because we would go over the summer to this place to Tejas. Yeah. So he was always getting on me about boots also, and I'm I ain't paying for it, but Christmas it's oh, okay.
It worked. Boots sound good on those wood floors.
Yeah, no, because we had gone to. Yeah, we're both not super country.
Not at all.
But we can pull it off, I think.
We can pull it off. I forgot to tell you about my cowboy hat phase.
What phase?
I bought...
When was this? Was this recent?
No, yeah, this is still going on.
Oh, gosh.
I have them both in my car right now.
Yikes.
I almost wore it, too. I've been wearing... So there's a possibility I might be working at a deer ranch this summer.
Ooh.
And so I bought this cowboy hat, and it's really comfortable, really practical, and it takes the most sun off your face.
Yeah.
So I've been wearing it. The only problem is I don't know where to wear it with. So one day, I kid you not, I wore tennis. No, I had boots on. I think I had sweatpants and I had a tank top, and then I wore a cowboy hat, and I got so much crap from everybody. It's dude, what are you doing? And I was I was out of clothes, but I was I wanted to wear my cowboy hat.
Oh my, this sweatpants. No, because that was my thing. Freshman year was because I was still I'm still in this phase now where when I'm going to the gym every day, it's I got my warm ups, I got my hoodie. And I got a t-shirt and shorts underneath, and those change and everything. But it's the outerwear stays the same for December through March.
Oh yeah.
And I'm
Hey, Aggies commit.
Aggies do commit.
Aggies commit.
It's a good bowl.
It is.
No, yeah. But we've also been quite the pair of gym buddies.
We have.
Yeah. Not so much recently, but I mean, you sir are an athlete.
Yeah, right. That's you, man. That's all you. That's
you got. So, I like to think of we really are a strange dynamic duo in a way, and I don't mean that in just oh my gosh, we're superheroes and stuff, but you are big and fast, and I'm kind of lean traditionally and strong.
Right.
That's kind of how I've done it, but it's when you put both of us together, it's we push each other. In the exact right places was what I've kind of found, because it's you can push me, speed wise and endurance wise, and also show me okay, this is how mass works and stuff, and how you carry your weight. But then I'm also okay, here's technical stuff, and it's been no, and Yeah, it gets in pretty fierce and come rec time.
It does. Like, there's moments where it's like I don't know about you. I always feel like it's kind of like competition sometimes.
Oh yeah,
we'll switch back and forth because it's like. So I might be. I think it's an advantage because I'm slightly taller than you.
Okay.
Just slightly.
A little bit.
But you kill me every time we do legs. Every single time we do legs, I always end up like. I can't walk. There was one time I had to wear boots because my heels, I couldn't bring my heels to the ground.
Never skip leg day, boys and girls.
Don't skip.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. It is a trap. But
it's a trap.
We get competitive, like we do squats, and then all of a sudden we do like bicep curls. It just like it doesn't make sense at all, but just pushing each other in the right directions and like iron sharpens iron.
Oh, that's a good word. That's Proverbs 27:17.
It is. It is. And it worked. And I mean, that's how we would do it in the gym.
Yeah.
Really, because you would whatever lift you were really good at. Usually, I was either
like working on.
I was either working on or it was one of my weaker stuff.
Right.
And then vice versa. Whatever I was good at, there's sometimes
right. Well, because we'd always seem to start with like the compound lifts because I would like I've had a lot of like not a lot of but like technical training in terms of like okay, this is how you squat, bench, deadlift, and like press and stuff like that. And so it's like I've learned how to adapt my body to those movements really, really efficiently, I think. But you are very classically strong in terms of just like you can move weight and move like stuff up and down in different directions with your biceps or triceps, like arms and chest, like very classically big boy. Yeah,
no, it's one of the like classic garage type style workouts.
But it's cool. I know. I remember there was one particular thing you showed me in terms of like the biceps where it was just like that ridiculous superset.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet. What was it like 2, 5, 7, 7, 8, like 10, 12 or something like that?
It goes, so it's 2 sets overall, but it's you do it 2 times. I don't like to say sets for it. You do 2. I nicknamed it the gauntlet, but then I'm a huge comic book nerd, so now I call it the Infinity Gauntlet.
Ooh.
So it's you do it 2 times, but you start off with a heavy weight and you do 3 reps.
Right.
And then you move up 10 pounds, 3. And then you move up 10 pounds and you go, and it's 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 7, 10, 12.
Gosh.
And at first you do like the beginning, like the heavyweight, and you're like, oh, this is the hard part, and I'm doing all right.
Right. Yeah.
And then you get to 5, or then you start going to like the last 5.
Like the last 7, and then like like the 12, you're usually like there, and you have the mindset to finish it out. But for me, it was like okay, 3, 3. I'm pumping and I'm really, really good. And I'm just like, you're focused on like, not hurting yourself because it's a lot of weight.
It is a lot of weight.
And then like 5, 5, you're like, okay, this is like a little bit less, but like you're working on it. That first 7 is when your body hits a wall.
Oh.
That second 7 is like, you are continually hitting this wall and it's not moving. And you have to figure out mentally what adjustment are you going to make so that you can do 10, 12.
Oh, it's rough. And it's really funny.
And there's no rest in between.
No rest. None at all. The only rest you get is your gym buddy putting, if it's like pins.
Yeah, the pegs.
The pegs, you move the pegs. That's the
seconds,
only rest.
Yeah.
It's seconds. And I mean, even if it's just like you have weights and stuff, you're swapping out weights fast.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I like doing it with people because I like seeing their faces.
Yeah,
and the reason why is because
lifting faces.
The lifting faces are really strong, especially like that last 7. It's super like your like teeth are grit, like you're making sounds.
Well, because you've never worked harder for a 7 in your life.
Oh, not even close.
Yeah.
And it's so much weight, but at the same time, the funny part is it's not that heavy weight. Like
it humbles you.
It definitely humbles you, and you get such a good amount of workout. And you look at the end peg where it's at, and it's 20 pounds.
Yeah,
and you're like, what?
Yeah, that's drop sets, bro.
It's my favorite thing to do. It kicks your butt, but it definitely gets you somewhat bigger. Not necessarily leaner, but it gets you bigger.
Mine, my big thing is always been like more compound stuff, just because like I mean, the amount of food that I've had to eat and to even like maintain weight is just like I've kind of realized, okay, I've got to be content with like 155 and then just like let the Lord do whatever he wants with the rest. But it's like I've traditionally like, do you know you familiar with Louis Simmons?
I've heard the name.
And the conjugate, he did West Side. He runs West Side.
Yes.
And so like their whole deal is like, big isn't strong, strong is strong.
Right.
And it's the training and the programming constantly switching gears, not necessarily like CrossFit where you're like working 30 different systems in one day, but where you have like 3 or 4 different variations of bench, 3 or 4 different variations of the deadlift or squat and stuff like that. And so the parent movement, whatever it is, the bench, squat, deadlift, it's like it gets better without accommodation. So the more you just straight up squat, the more you just straight up bench, your body's getting used to it, which in traditional like periodization and like the Western training, you think, okay, like as my body's getting used to it, I just increase the weight, progressive overload, and I'll get better.
Oh yeah.
Whereas, you know, the conjugate system says, I'm going to keep not necessarily like increasing the weight or like waiting to increase the weight with one exercise. Like every single week I'm going to come in with a new exercise and increase weight every single week.
Right.
And it's not like, you know, your close grip bench is the same as your normal grip or your wide grip bench, but it's like every time you go in that rotation, you're increasing one or the other.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to destroy accommodation and getting used to things. You don't actually want your body to adapt. You want your body to continually like be shocked in a way, and that blows like my nervous system like out the freaking wazoo. Like I have to take naps, you know, like just fat naps because you're like back. Not that it's like hurting, but like it's just kind of like shook.
You're sore, yeah. You're sore. That's similar to like I follow this guy on Instagram. His name is he's training with, if you guys have seen Game of Thrones, the guy is training with the Mountain. I think it's Thor. I can't think.
Thor Jorgensen.
Jorgensen is like a strongman,
right,
competitor, champion, and his name is Larry Wheels.
Bro, Larry.
Oh my gosh, the man is a monster. He's one of the few people I've met that, watched, that have seen that. Not only has he's got the strength, but he's also got the size and he's lean all at the same
real
time.
lean.
And he does that. He does exactly what you're saying, doing variations of not always keeping your body on its toes, and then eventually, you know, working on weight-wise for it. But always he's like constant body shock, constant. And the man, I think last time I watched one of his videos, he said his goal was to get to, I think, 2,000 pounds in 3 different lifts. I think it was like bench, squat, and deadlift.
Oh, like a 2,000 pound total?
Total. And he's like, I think he was at 900 something for his squat. And then bench, I think it was something insane, like 800. It was like, it was a lot of weight. I don't want to quote it, but definitely does that.
No, 2,000 pound total is nothing to shy away at. I think mine was sitting close to 1, which is like half.
It's you look at this guy and it's insane, but at the same time, he's never gotten injured, which is something that's very uncommon for these big guys, is because usually they destroy their body doing the same movements all the time. But he's a huge advocate of like, mix it up, you know, make it different. Don't kill yourself every single time.
Right. Train optimally.
Right. Train optimally. I think one of his videos I was watching, he hadn't had an injury in over like a year or a year and a half. Right. Which for those bodybuilder guys and those guys, I think he's in strongman now, is unheard of to not be hurt. Right. And he pulls it off. Yeah, no,
injury prevention is huge. I know, like, you and I have both kind of dealt with, like, various things, but, like, I know people, like, when your knee goes out, you're done.
Tapped. Yeah,
like,
you're tapping out.
You're done. Like, when something in your spine, like, skeletally goes out, you're done. Like, a disc, you're done. You know? People come back from, like, Achilles and stuff, and, like, it actually gets stronger after you tear your Achilles, apparently, and it's, like, much less likely that you'll ever re-tear it again.
Yeah, I've heard that, too. They told me that. I blew out my knee one time, and they told me that, but it's just, like, I never want to push it. But that happened to one of my buddies, too. My coach. My coach had 4 herniated discs. 4,
dang.
The man still did legs and power cleans and deadlift.
No excuses.
Every single one of the toughest guys I ever knew. And he rehabbed it.
Right.
He was smart. He progressively got to it. But holy cow, you think like breaking an arm's bad, and then try deadlifting with 4 herniated discs. That's
did he fuse them? Did he have like surgery, or did he just?
He's a tough guy.
Right. Is he the one that was watching the place while we were there?
Oh.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that's him.
Okay.
I think he left. No, he left before you got. He left. Okay. I think my beginning of junior year.
Right. Because we went to visit Riley's gym over the break just to have somewhere to train. But yeah.
No, that was a different guy. That's a different guy. He's the new coach there. I can't. But guy was a monster. Right. He was just absolute tank. And you hear some of his stories and his when he's an Aggie too.
Okay.
His powerlifting days or not powerlifting, but his football days, and it's just unheard of.
Yeah. No, because I mean, one of the big things, I don't know if you were ever like kind of even remotely like tempted down this road, and it's not steroids but painkillers. Because like, I mean, you go, especially like as you're competing and practicing and just training, like you're not necessarily thinking about longevity, especially when you're like 16, 17.
Yeah.
You're just being told push, 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 push.
Right, you're thinking about winning the game on Friday night.
Exactly. And it's like, and especially in competition, like it's strange how like, you know, in practice and stuff like that, like I am completely fine. But like once competition comes and like you're just literally going above and beyond to like chase that ball down, it's like that's when you hurt yourself. And I'm like, frick.
Yeah, it was. I tore my MCL, which is not, I mean, it's not as bad as.
Not the end of the world.
It's not the end of the world, but my knee kept on buckling. So I really couldn't run. And I was told, it was one of my good friends told me, he was like, dude, you gotta suck it up.
Yeah.
Get out there. And I was like, dude, I can't run. I was like, you gotta run. He's like shaking me. He's like, he plays D2 football.
Is this the same boy who like took 4 scoops of C4?
No, that's a different guy. That's a different story. That guy was insane. No, he's one of my good friends, but he's like close to 6'2", weighs like 280 or something. Okay. Big dude. He's I think he's a center or snapper.
Whippersnapper?
Whippersnapper. From Ochita. No, it's not Ochita. What is it? I'm going to think of it later. But he started shaking me. He's like, dude, you got to run. You got to do it for the game. I was like, Michael, I can't. My knee is destroyed. And he goes, oh, I'll go find coach. But it's like, he went from like, you got to win the game. And then he looks at me and goes, oh, okay. I'll go get coach.
Oh, you're so reasonable. No, yeah, because like, I mean, it's, you got to know yourself. And you got to know like when not when enough is enough, but like when, like the difference between like pain and injury.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And my like general go-to has been like, okay, if I can run this off, if I can run a mile, because like you wake up sore and stuff like that. And like, okay, that's what like the cardio before you lift, because you should run before you lift, people, is like.
Hey,
like,
The Rock does it every single day.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, if it doesn't loosen up after that, it's like, okay, stretch it out. If it's something real close to a joint, be careful. Like if it's like your tricep in general is like kind of tight, it's like, okay, it's just tight and sore. But if it's like your tricep right by your elbow or like your shoulder right by your clavicle, it's like you got to watch the joints and the bones, and because like anything around there, like you don't know if that's the muscle or if that's the tendon or the ligament, and it's like,
well, a lot of people, they keep having this, and I hear this all the time when sometimes I'll let when I'm at the Wesley Foundation, I'll let some of the younger guys work out with me, or I'll work out with the older guys. And it's so surprising, the misconception of rest. And it's like, guys, it's like it's okay if you're genuinely hurting. It's okay to not go full like 100%. And in that case, you just like you work on control. You know, you take it nice and slow with lightweight, or you know, there's nothing wrong with a rest day. Your body does need rest to recuperate. And again, you're not going to lose, as I hear it all the time, people thinking, well, I'm going to lose my progress, I'm going to lose gains. It's like, no, it's okay. Your body needs
it helps your
time.
workout. Well, because so how people, okay, I'm going to have to think about this because I don't want to say it wrong. Like, it's the same thing with steroids. People think it's like, okay, the steroids are what makes you strong. No, the workouts make you strong. And the fact that you can do more work and recover quicker and you need less rest with like steroids is like why you can go out and have these 4-6 hour workouts, and the breakdown of the muscle and the protein synthesis afterwards that like builds back upon like all that broken down muscle. That's what makes you strong. It's the quality of the workout that you do, not necessarily like the frequency or just like time spent in the gym. It's the quality over quantity. That took a long freaking time for me to figure out, but like it's totally true in terms of like the guy I was talking about earlier, Louis Simmons, who runs Westside. Most powerlifting splits for like just like raw strength are like 4 days or 5 days. So it's not 6. Like bodybuilding, I understand like sometimes, and especially like if you're, you know, depending on whether you're using or not using, we don't have to get into that, but it's like you just have different abilities. But like if you're not able to recover that quickly, you'll notice a huge difference in your ability to actually perform day to day, whether it's 3 days a week versus like 6 days a week, at least with that same system. Because right now it's like I'm in the gym 6 days a week, but like 3 of those I'm lifting, but the other 3 I'm just shooting or playing basketball,
Right.
or I'm on the court with my kids playing tennis. It's like you can't overload that same system 6 days a week, constantly expecting that it's not going to eventually poop out on you.
Right.
You know, you got to give it time to recover.
Yeah, you have to rest is very important. I try to tell that to people.
Yeah.
They're like when you're having a hard time, like your knees are locked and you're walking because
Right.
leg days. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being sore. Sore is, I like to think it's the cruel joke of the gym.
Yeah.
But there's nothing wrong with being sore, but there's a very big difference between sore and being
hurt.
and hurting.
Right.
There's a very big difference. If you have to clench your teeth every time you have to sit up or whatever, or
Yeah.
like if you have to stand up or just to like open a door, you're clenching your teeth. That's not a good sign. Your body does need rest, and that's where diet comes in, and the food intake, or whatever you're doing, whatever is good for you. Like these people who are professionals, say like 25% is the quality. It's good quality gym work, and the rest is you need your body to recover and get those nutrients and start building that muscle.
Well, there are freaks out there, which anybody can have an exceptional work ethic. It's not about the work ethic, but there are freaks out there who legit naturally recover at an incredible rate and with like incredible efficiency. And so it's like you've got guys who naturally look amazing and look different than I'm gonna look. And it's like there's not a problem with that. God made you the way He made you. If He wanted me to have the body of LeBron James, He would have given me the body of LeBron James. But He didn't, and it's up to me to be content with that.
Yeah, I mean, well, it always breaks my heart, and I understand, and I had this problem too when I was, the reason I started lifting wasn't because of sports originally, it was because of bullying.
Right.
And so that, I started lifting because I wanted the guys to stop picking on me anymore. I had the classic bullies, the ones that like, give me your lunch money kind of.
Yeah.
And so that's why I started getting into push-ups and lifting, right? Because I wanted to be bigger, thinking that it would scare them away. I had no intent of using such strength because I didn't know how to. But it makes me really sad to hear when people are like, when they put themselves down about how they look compared to somebody else in the gym. Like we have, I'm sure Cody, you've seen them. The guys in the core that are in the A&M Corps of Cadets
look amazing.
They look amazing, but of
course they do. Yeah, of course they do.
They have to get up 5:30 for the entire week, except for like
they have regimented consistency and a high degree of accountability. That does cost them.
Oh yeah, no,
that costs them sleep primarily. Because I know guys, I mean, a couple of buddies in the Corps that are like, 4 or 5 hours a night. That's what you're living on for the 4 years you're in the Corps.
And that's like a good night's sleep. That's not including if you're studying or if you have homework assignments.
Or the stress trying to fall asleep, knowing that you've got PT in the morning. It's like, it comes at a cost.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. There's always a cost to it.
Yeah.
And I mean, those guys are willing to pay. I don't.
Exactly.
It breaks my heart to see people that are like, well, I don't look like them. I say, no, you might not look like them, but God made you the way you are for a reason. These guys that are like, for example, the Corps of the Cadets, they're wanting to go in the military. You got to be in shape. You got to be that physically able to do that, but you're not looking for the same goals, right? And it breaks my heart to hear people when they put themselves down because they don't have, or I don't know, they don't have that whatever movie star Zac Efron body,
right?
And it's like, but you're perfect the way you are. If you want to get better, then get better. Work on it.
And I think we're generally moving in a good direction with that. I think there's like a lot of awareness about body image and self-image and just like even mental and emotional health, because that all kind of comes together in terms of like, there are, I mean, you and I both know a couple people who are like very, not sensitive, but just like self-critical. Yeah. And it's like, okay, realize that like you are not made to be somebody else. There's room for improvement for you, absolutely, and you can focus on that with like an opportunity mindset. But if you're constantly looking at yourself from a state of lacking, then you're never going to have what you want.
No, yeah.
It's just, that's not the way I think hopefully like God wants us to think about ourselves, because it's like, if anything, we should be completely content with what He's given us, not only like biologically with, like our genes and like how we look, but just like the fact that He's given us Himself primarily. It's like everything else really does come second. And like when we start elevating the body or like our physical condition, you know, it's vanity is what it is. You know, that's not to say that if you're an athlete, it's immediately vanity, or that if you put in a certain amount of dedication that it's vanity. No, it's your mindset and how you pursue whatever it is that you're pursuing. If you can do that in a way that's honoring to the Lord, in a way that like honors your body that he's given you, and also just like is encouraging to the people around you and building other people up, seeking to serve them and stuff, it's like that's a great thing.
Oh, absolutely.
And a noble thing. But it's like, well, whenever Satan creeps in and he starts telling you lies about yourself, about other people, it's like, what the heck? Like why are you listening?
Absolutely. When it comes to stroke, like stuff in like college, you know, you'll have these moments where like self-doubt, and I think this is just me spitballing. This is usually what I've always believed, is that the biggest achievement that the enemy can have is to get in your head that you are terrible. Or that you don't have faith in yourself. Okay. I mean, of course, we want to have faith in God, but also you have to believe in like that I'm capable of doing this. I'm smart. I'm strong.
That the Spirit can use you and work in you.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, like he can do stuff for these other people, but not for me because I'm right. This
exactly.
Way. Yeah.
Because if as soon as you think that, oh, I'm broken or I can't do that, right?
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier said than done. But as soon as you say that in your mind, then you're not allowing God to really flow through you and be like, listen, you can do this. I made you for this.
Yeah.
I created you. I know who you are, and I know what you're capable. And yes, I'll put hard trials in front of you, but they're nothing that you can't do without me. And so many, I see that so often with, especially the younger guys that when they come into college at Wesley, they have these big doubts about themselves. And I was like, listen, it's okay. It's going to work out. But you got to have faith in yourself, but most importantly, faith in God. That through these trials, through these, like, whatever, if it's self-image or if, like, you're struggling in class, that with God's help, you're going to get through it. Yeah. He puts these in front of you to make you better and to be able to use you. He is using you through those trials and for examples, to be example to others.
Yeah, no, and that's so good. And I think one of the verses, if I could put scripture to it, is just straight out of 1 Timothy, where it's like, you know, physical training is of some value, but godliness has value in all things. And it's really cool to look at scripture through the lens of, and I use this loosely, like as a playbook and stuff like that, and because like people are like, okay, Jesus is more than a life coach. We don't want that, you know, connotation to be what this is about. But in terms of like, he is actively training your spirit to be resilient, to be strong, to endure trial and suffering, to rejoice in that suffering, and to pursue community with him first and foremost, but also with the people around you, which I think is why team sports particularly are such a valuable thing, like for anybody, like not just like youth, but like, I mean, in college, intramurals, adults, like learning how to work with others towards a common goal is like amazing. And I know you played track, which is a little bit more individual. You represent the team, but you've also played both football and basketball for a Christian school and had a bunch of awesome people surrounding you there. I was wondering if you could talk a little bit more about that atmosphere, what that did for you spiritually, physically, just like how it helps you grow, and what stories, if any, you could tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, some of the, like, I played football, basketball, and track, and one of the toughest, by far, the toughest challenges, like football, it's tough, it hurts, right? And it's team camaraderie, but it's, you know, it's not necessarily all on you. Same with basketball, right? You got 5 guys on the court, but you got your bench going crazy. The one that I never expected to be the hardest, and I thought it'd be the easiest sport, was track. And track, I was in individual events, but the hardest race, the one that every single time I get so scared, I get so nervous, was the 4x4.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I've never, I literally, every race, I'd start shaking. You thought I would have Parkinson's or something like that. I was so scared. Really? And it was a team event. I had my guys. It wasn't just all on me, but all of us felt this way. Right. All of us. And I will never forget it. It was my junior year again. I was so sad because my senior year, my knee was destroyed. Right. And I couldn't do it. My knee was gone and we weren't able to go to state, but we did go to state. My junior year is the first time the 4x4 team has really, I wouldn't say the first time we went to state, but I will never forget all of us and our best runner too. He's gonna go to Northwestern to go run track.
Okay.
And you thinking, cool as a cucumber.
Right.
Right. This is his daily thing, and it was so relieving when we all shared a room at the hotel together, right? Because the coach wanted to keep the teams together.
Yeah.
And the camaraderie, and I really think that was
a good
Coach,
idea.
It was Coach Forrester. Coach Forrester had that mind. He's like, I'm just gonna let you. You know what's gonna happen tomorrow. You guys need to talk about it.
Okay.
And I won't forget when, the guy's name Tony. He looks at us and goes, "Guys, I'm terrified."
Yeah.
And all of us are looking. We're all 3 of us are juniors. He's a senior, and we're like, "What?" And we're like, "Wait, this is the one guy that was supposed to be calm. This is the one that we're all freaking out." It's like, guys, it's okay. We're gonna run our race. We're gonna run the best we can.
Yeah.
Right. And the other guy, so another member of our team, phenomenal runner. He was a long distance guy though.
Okay.
And he just won state in the mile. And literally out of breath, is out of it. I'm freaking out. And he had our coach, no, it was his dad. His dad had this weird leg contraption thing that's supposed to get all the toxins out. Either way, but
something.
We got ready for a race and we all prayed together, and I won't forget that prayer.
Yeah.
It's just because we all huddled around together and we're like, all right, we know what we need to do. We know that this isn't, we're gonna run our best, and that's all that God wants. And that we kept emphasizing that we're gonna do what God wants us to do to the fullest of our extent and a little bit more. Give everything we got. And we were predicted to be dead last in this race. And we ran, and we ended up, technically we came in 4th.
Okay.
But the guy during my leg of the race ran into my lane.
Oh.
And he ran into my lane, and they got DQ'd, and we got 3rd place. It was the first time that our team had medaled in the 4x4.
Wow.
And we lost it. And we all, though we were celebrating stuff, but we all realized, and we looked at each other, and that was such a good fellowship and bond, because we all realized that we didn't have a game plan going. Yeah, we have a game plan, but we all just agreed, no matter how scared we were, we based it off of my life verse, Psalms 23:4.
Right.
And it's like, even though we're walking through the valley of shadow of death, right? For this case, it was this big anxious event of performing in a state level.
Yeah.
We're not going to fear any evil. We're just going to give everything we got, because we know that God's going to be with us, right? Your rod and your staff, they comfort us. And we knew that we all came together, and we said, I kept saying it over and over again. When I was the second leg, and I'm watching Tony run, coming to me, and I go, Psalms 23:4, even though I walked through the valley of shadows, right? I kept saying it over and over again. Our Bible teacher was there too, and he's an assistant coach. He was just there to be there.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Do you know what to do, Mr. Riley?" Right? Mr. Riley, you saying that verse, boy?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Mr. Bracey. Yes, Mr. Bracey. And he goes, "Calm yourself, boy. Calm yourself, boy. Just take it and run. Run fast, turn left." And
go Ricky Bobby.
Heck, you can be first, second, third.
Heck, there's even 5th.
But I will never forget those moments, just because you're absolutely right, Cody. That iron sharpens iron, and team mentality. I was blessed enough that I had great fellowship with Christian guys, but even outside of that, seeing that bond and seeing God work in, maybe even if they're not very advocate Christians, or they might not be Christians at all, seeing God work through them and seeing them see you at a moment of fear, but yet feeling calm. It's my coach used to tell me, he sadly passed away last year.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Or last semester. And he goes, in October, he says, he used to tell me that a good leader, you do what you need to do, right? You're a focal point.
Right.
And he says, son, and I asked him, I was like, Coach, I'm terrified for this game. And he goes, son, there's nothing wrong with being afraid. Every courageous person is afraid. You don't think Daniel was shaking in his boots when he had to go against Goliath? He was probably terrified. If he wasn't, then that's the Holy Spirit working in him. But bravery is not necessarily not being afraid. It's being afraid, but still not letting it control you and pushing forward.
Right.
To do what
word.
God wants you to do. God knows you're afraid. That's why he's there, is to help you. He's like, I am here. Relax, broski.
Relax,
broski. Broly mammoth, I'm here. I got you. And I'll never forget those days. Those were...
Yeah. That's such a cool story, and I'm surprised I've never heard it. But that's amazing. That's the power of prayer, bro.
It is. It was, It was phenomenal. I had the video on my phone of us racing, but not too many guys. Actually, not too many people know that story, and it's because it's so precious to me, and I always wanted to like kind of keep it for myself.
Yeah, you lay that up in your heart. That's awesome.
Right, but it's again, it's a God thing. You know, we're willing to share that aspect, and like it's okay to be afraid. It's okay to have it. It's when fear controls you, or it's that knowing when fear controls you, it's the enemy. But I love those team sports, whether it's if you're in middle school, high school, college, and it doesn't have to be sports either. It can be team projects and stuff. Working with people and, you know,
coming
sweat,
together.
tears, coming together. It's really fun to kind of just sit back.
It's fulfilling.
It's very fulfilling. It's sit back and just watch. Even if they're not religious at all, seeing God work through them is phenomenal. It's one of my, I'm one of the weirdos that love group projects during college, but
I'm definitely not in that ballpark usually, but for like different reasons, it's just like, but that definitely is true. Just the human spirit, even so, is very relational, and I think that's because God made the human spirit, and it's like he's relational, so that's like amazing. And then prayer, just like giving it all back to him and glorifying him like through your performance, not letting your value rest on your performance, but knowing that like, I mean, it's already been decided for you who you are and everything like that. I know for me, I played tennis, which is like interesting because it's like a team and an individual sport. So in a similar way, like to track, it's like you're representing your school, but you also like, okay, there's singles and there's doubles. And I played doubles more often than singles for good reason. Is because like in singles, for one, I just wasn't quite good enough to play singles at the level that we were playing. But also because like individually, I cannot sustain myself like emotionally and mentally, and I just get thrown about, whether or not that's like anger or fear or anxiety or just like tactically with like strategy. Like I won't be able to make up my mind by myself. Like I'm really indecisive, and like I like experimenting, so I would just try a million different things to like in an attempt to win, and I couldn't stick to a game plan. But as soon as I had somebody else on the court with me, whether that's a coach, whether that's my teammate or something like that, and they not only are able to keep me steady emotionally and mentally, but just also like very physically in the moment in the game. And I'm the type of person where I don't want to let anybody down. And as much as it's like if I lose a singles match, I'm kind of letting the team down and like the name of the school and stuff like that. If I like disappoint my partner, if I miss a shot, if I set him up for like a bad situation to where he can't make a shot, you know, that's on me. And I never want to be responsible for somebody else's like pain or failure, or just like, you know, in some way kind of just disappointing them in a way. So I was always much better, much more consistent in doubles, playing just my game was a little bit suited to that as well, like better at the net as opposed to like back at the baseline, you know, a little bit quicker, and that stuff. But it was mainly just the fact that I needed somebody to sit on the bench with me and tell me, hey, bud, it's gonna be okay. And that was a big thing for me, not only with guys doubles, because guys, it's like you have somebody with you, but sometimes you're both just like stoic and rocks it, and you don't want to talk about what's going on, and that's not super helpful. But mixed doubles, and again, it just depends person to person. I found that like these girls that I had the blessing to play with were just like super encouraging, that I got to be super encouraged by them and hopefully lead them well and just like play with them. But it was like just a different experience emotionally and mentally. I felt, like you said, so much more at peace. There was no fear while I was playing. Like it's still like, okay, you don't want to miss the shot, but it's like I felt free, and that freedom to play, to be creative, to, you know, just go out there and have fun in a way and take the stress off of competition, no comparison. It's a different experience. It's not just the absence of a fear, but just like the presence of a joy, you know, and that's totally from the Spirit and from the Lord, and that comes through community, you know. And I'm definitely, in hindsight, like selling myself short when I was playing singles, because of course I have my team, I have my coach, I have my family, I have a bunch of people who love me and want me to do well, you know. But when you're on that court by yourself and all you can see is the opposition and the ball, it's like it gets lonely really, really quick.
It does.
And you can tell yourself, and maybe, I mean, you know, the consequences are much less severe than like when it's, you know, outside of the court, but just like the devil can tell you you're alone, and that there's no way you can win this. There's no way you should keep going. There's no way that you should keep playing. There's no reason for you to try. And it's like, that's a lie. That's such a lie, and it's such a really stupid lie to believe, because it's like, of course you have a reason to be happy. Like, Christ called you his own. Right. Like, just forget anything else. Forget any consolation. Like, nothing is greater than like just that truth of the gospel. The fact that like, I have been claimed, I have been purchased, I have been redeemed, like sanctified, made holy, like whatever you want to like label it as. It's like, there is something inside of me that is reason to celebrate, no matter what the circumstance is, on the court, off the court, and that's just awesome. But I do think it's like, competition has a way of bringing that awareness out of me, where it's like, in life, you kind of hear the similar, spiel and the same stories in terms of like, hey, believe in yourself, right. And reach out to community and reach out to others. But I think the microcosm of sports, and especially team sports, you just have like, a magnifying glass on everything. And so it's that much more important. And in a way, just like the time aspect of like, the game's pretty short, and if you don't make this adjustment quickly, if you don't seek help quickly, then the consequences are much more immediate, a little bit less severe than in life, but they're much more immediate. And so you recognize the need to be quick about things, to be quick about, hey coach, what am I doing? Right. Hey man, like what do we need to fix and adjust? And what are they doing? Like you're constantly analyzing, and that can be a detriment as well. You can overanalyze stuff, but it makes you aware. There's something about healthy competition that makes you aware of these battles that are going on in your head, that like, if left unchecked, if you're not actively fighting the battle, you're losing the battle, and that's just, dang, it's crazy what goes on.
It is. No, it is. It's absolutely crazy, and how, like, just by not like analyzing it, or not just like focusing on like, maybe I have like an issue. Now this is on or off the court, how you could be losing the battle just because you just like, I'm okay, just shrugging it off. And it's right. It's,
you don't want to admit that there is one.
Yeah. That's a big one. Is that, no, I'm fine.
Right.
The fine word. When it who was that? Was Courtney? Or Court?
Oh, Court for short. It's fine. I'm fine. Everything's fine.
That's the opposite.
I don't know if it was her that coined it. Like coined it within our friend group, but I think it's from somewhere. I can't think of where it's from though. Yeah. Yeah. But man, you're so right in terms of like, I mean, it's strange because that is the truth. Like, things are fine, but whether or not we're fine with things or whatever things are going on is like, can be misleading in a way, because ultimately, like, you look at the gospel and it's like, yes, everything's fine. Everything is absolutely fine, but whether or not we can actually believe that when we say it, because we kind of just say it as that shrug of the shoulders and blowing people off, and like, I don't want to talk about this is what that is shorthand for, because it's like, there's something about vulnerability, and I think we can both attest to this, where like initially it's terrifying, and it takes the relationship and the trust and the going through life together to finally realize, hey, there is a safe space to talk about this, and hopefully there's more of them. Hopefully the world in general, like, we can get more comfortable talking about certain things, about our own insecurities, and not feel afraid of them. Insecure about our insecurities. It's like, it's weird. Oh, I mean, I guess that's just like self-fulfilling. I don't know. Sorry. Tangent in my mind, but it's like, yeah, we need to reach out, bro. We need some Buffalo buddies.
We need some Buffalo buddies. Buffalo's got to stay together.
And Buffaloes.
It's, something I always, I lost my trail of thought.
No, it's all right.
What was I going to say?
Buffalo buddies?
Buffalo buddies. The buffalo nun trampled me.
Everybody's got a water buffalo. Yours is fast, but mine is slow.
I totally lost.
Follow VeggieTales on Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat.
But I totally lost my trail of thought.
No, it's okay.
It's gonna make me so sad. 'Cause
you'll get it back.
Oh, okay. Being insecure about being open.
Right.
I feel like that's such a, like in college too, that's such a common thing. Is that, you want to be that guy who has their headphones on and just kind of walks to class. Yeah. It's a struggle, but...
one of the best things that happened to me last semester is my Beats broke. my life has been 1,000 times better after my Beats broke. Because like it was like $80 to go in and do whatever like the refurbishment fee was, but I was like, I'm not going to pay that right now.
Right.
And I have like a speaker and I have my laptop and just my phone. I was like, okay, I won't have my headphones in. Emotionally, just like 1,000 times better because I'm not so insulated. Like I'm looking around. It's amazing what happens when like you do even open your ears and open your eyes and you're willing to like look at the world around you instead of incubate yourself inside of, you know, Spotify. You know, not that Spotify's bad, but
Right, no, but just like it blows my mind, this sense of people realizing it's like those who are kind of afraid to cry. I used to be afraid of crying, but the amount like you feel, like how you feel so much better after you cry, it brings me so much joy. And I used to be a freshman Bible study leader, so I was not a freshman, but we would lead a Bible study for freshmen to show them what it's like to be in college and what struggles you'll deal with. And it would make me so happy when someone would feel finally comfortable to speak. That one quiet person, and then they would. Hands down, one of my favorite moments in Fish Care was that I was going over a lesson, right, and we had this one person who was just really quiet, and
it wasn't Sterling, was it?
No, it's definitely not Sterling.
Definitely not Sterling.
Sterling single-handedly has derailed so many Bible studies because of his outgoingness. But
I love the boy.
Oh my gosh,
that boy funny.
He's hilarious. He's an old man in a young man's body.
LOL.
But this one person, I won't say their name, but they were always really quiet.
Right.
Always didn't really input, and I would always hope that I didn't want to push them. Yeah. And I told the other leaders, like, let's not push. Just let them be, right? Yeah. Let them absorb, because there's some people who need to listen.
Right.
See, I can't think of the topic. I wish I could remember it. We start talking. I was like, does anyone have any thoughts? Right? She all of a sudden opened up, not revealing anything personal about herself, just contributing to the conversation. And it was such a good point. I think we were talking about peace. Okay. And she goes, some people have a really hard time finding their peace. But in a sense, there's peace and understanding that, life's chaotic. Right. And all of us, like all the leaders, our jaws dropped. Yeah. We were like, holy cow. That's a good word. It's a good word. That's a good point that, it's not going to be rainbows and butterflies. Like, she's trying to say it's not rainbows and butterflies all the time. Yeah. But that's you can find peace in that, knowing that it's not going to be 100% okay, but being okay with that. And we were just all like, I'm looking at one of my leader friends, Callie, who was my leader when I was a freshman. I looked at her and go, and she goes, I know. She got all excited because she dropped a bomb on everybody. Everyone was shocked. Right. And it made me so happy to see people and she felt so much better. And then all of a sudden, she was a regular talker. She'd bring up these points, great points. Yes. And it makes me so happy. And then, the same thing with the Beats thing. So many people put their metaphorical headphones on.
The white noise.
The white noise. Put their headphones on as headphones. Yeah. And they shut out the world. And sometimes that's the worst thing to do because then your thoughts start percolating. And if they're good thoughts, then that's great. You're thinking good thoughts, but if they're not, if you're having a rough day,
there's no way to get out of it.
It's no way to get out of it. And it made me so happy. Now she's like, this individual is involved in Wesley and gets involved and really is very vocal. Not always loud. Right. But it makes me so happy.
But confident.
Confident. And I think that
secure.
For those who deal with that struggle, I know this first step is always the scariest. But afterwards, man, you should see this person now. And it brings so much joy to me. And I've learned so much just from this person. And I was supposed to be the one teaching her. Yeah. And it's absolutely crazy the lives you can touch just by, if you take that leap of faith and trust God, it's going to be okay. And it's going to make it okay. It's amazing the wonders you can do. That's
so true. And I love just that I feel like can be the story for so many people, including myself. But it's it always does take that first step of vulnerability. The first step in anything is the hardest thing because it's something new and you've never done it before. And that's why it's so important to establish that trust with an individual, with a small group, with a community, to realize that once your voice is heard, that it's going to be supported and affirmed and encouraged, you know, and like in love, possibly corrected, you know, because that happens. But it's like, I know for me, I used to be pretty introverted, which is interesting.
Yeah, right.
well, right, but no, you ask my parents, you ask people, like adults who have known me since like middle school throughout high school, it's like, it's always, you know, who I'm with, how comfortable I am opening up with individuals. With you, it's like, there's nothing.
Just open.
The doors are open.
We're flipping tables. We're flipping spices.
Okay. Tangent real quick, everybody.
Slight tangent. Okay. Time out from the Jesus moment.
Time out for the Jesus moment. We will come back to it, but this is funny because Riley and I are a good bunch, but I guess juvenile bunch.
We bring out the child in each
other. Okay. So like I guess I'll tell them about Court for Shorts first.
Yeah.
So we have our friend named Courtney, whom we love. Who is very open with us, and one of the things she was very open about is the fact that she is not a fan of peanut butter. And so, what Riley and I decided to do, there's two stages to this.
There is.
So she had a dorm room in Hullabaloo on the 5th floor, and we had friends who could get us in and upstairs and stuff like that. And we thought, wouldn't it be a great idea if we got a bunch of Post-it notes, slathered them in peanut butter, and put them on her door? That was the original plan.
Not on the sticky end, so that way every time she pulled them off, she got peanut butter on her fingers.
Right, so there's the sticky end that we put on the door, and then at the bottom of each sticky note, you put the peanut butter, so when she pulls them off the door, she has to touch him, right? Or she has to take them all off with a paper towel. That was the original plan, and that's not what happened.
That's not at all what happened.
Because I unfortunately ducked out. This might have been one of your first dates with Emmy, I think. Because was she around? No, or did she leave?
I hadn't met her yet.
Okay, so it was before Emmy was around. But there was the jar of peanut butter, but there was no sticky notes.
We didn't have the sticky notes.
We didn't have the sticky notes. We forgot the sticky notes, but we remembered the jar of peanut butter. So you and Race, I think, just like shoved the jar of peanut butter on her door handle.
Race let me in. We went through the stairs. And because I needed a key card to get in, so I couldn't get into the elevator. So he let me in, and we just had this giant jar of peanut butter. And I was like, "Well, I don't have anything to spread it on." So then Race just goes jamming on the door. And it's like a door handle, and so I just went, and it stuck. It stuck there, and it started to harden. And so Courtney was she was with our other friend Randy, I think. And so they came back. I think they were having a girls' night or whatever. And they came back.
Poor them.
and I got a call from Randy first. I go, "What did you do?" I said nothing. And then Courtney called us right after. She go, "Hold on, can I put you on hold?" And then she got so mad. She goes, "I know it's you." And I go, "How do you know?" It goes,
Race told her.
Race told her. Yeah. I was like, man, I gotta rat it out.
No. So that was part one of this.
Part one.
So knowing us, we were not content to not have the last laugh on that because we kind of, I don't know.
Oh, we didn't, yeah.
Yeah, so there was more to it. Courtney's birthday came around the next year. Beginning of sophomore year. And we're all college students. We understand that, like, while gifts are nice, we're not exactly going to go overboard for one another.
You're broke. If you're in college, you're broke.
So it's like we want to have like a gesture, but it's like a card, maybe some money to Starbucks or something like that. But we're like, you know what? Let's each get Courtney a jar of peanut butter.
The one that cracked me up, so like it was all different types of peanut butter.
Right.
Like Race got her like honey peanut butter.
Crunchy, smooth.
Jif, the little Jif. The one that cracked me up is that you had the supersized peanut butter. The thing that cracked me up so much. This is how dedicated Cody was to this. It was half eaten. You already opened it. It was your personal peanut butter, and you just gave it to her. I don't know if I told you this or not. She ended up giving it to her brother. And she gave him the half-eaten one. And I told her, like, she goes, "What? He's a germaphobe. He would hate that."
Yeah.
People probably think you were terrible, but
right. Because, like, I mean, I don't got time for like snacks and stuff, but like I'll make like a peanut butter sandwich. So I just had like, I mean, one of the value jars from HEB. Oh. And so it's like half done, but it's not like I'm like spooning it, you know. I'm just like, you know, spreading it, you know, I guess sanitarily. But I was like, I'm not going to spend another $12 to like give her peanut butter as a gag gift. I'm just going to give her what I got.
So she's roommates with my girlfriend now.
Really?
So, yeah. So she's roommates with Emmy, and so when I I'll come over, and she still has like 3 or 4 of those peanut butter jars from what is it, last year. So.
Right. So that's the peanut butter prank. There's also something we do called flipping.
Flip it.
So flipping is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you go into a room, usually of someone else's house or place of work or worship, and you find every artifact in that room that you could possibly flip upside down, and you do. So there was one time that was kind of, actually, I think all of them were pretty extreme. I've done some that are not extreme with my own apartment and my roommates, but like I went to your church because we were just hanging out and studying.
Yeah, we were staying upstairs with Sterling.
And you made the mistake of going downstairs to tell Emmy good night and goodbye.
Yeah, I left. I was gone tops 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Not even. Like, I was like a quick, oh, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. Love you, bye,
so
hug.
There were sofas, not tables, sofas, chairs, and probably like half a dozen like paintings or pictures on there that were like hanging by nails and stuff like that. And so within 2 minutes, I flipped everything upside down, and I hid behind one of the sofas. I turned my camera on, and then I see Riley through the lens come back into the room, and he's just like, how in the what?
Because the best part too was that Sterling is still studying. He didn't move. He didn't move at all. Everything is flipped. His own chair is flipped over, and he sat on the chair. The table is flipped over, and his laptop is still on the table.
He went along with it.
He went along. And I was like, I was gone for 2 minutes, and I come back and I left it. I left it that way, and so our interns at the time came up. We went, what happened?
No, so that was at your church.
That was at my church.
And then we had a movie night at Emmy's house, where I guess she went to do something.
I think she was in the bathroom, and her roommate was I don't know where.
Was she? No, it might have been like somebody's aunt was there, and they had to like do something. Basically, the girls were outside. I don't know how they got outside.
Her aunt came in. They were trying to they were trying to get her luggage upstairs or something like that.
Or like, and they were going out to her car or something. And so like their staircase is like pretty far off from their kitchen and all that stuff. And so there's doors and all that stuff. So we were in the kitchen just talking. Then they went out to help her aunt or something.
Right.
And legit, every spice in every cabinet, every box in the pantry,
every lettuce, carrots.
Yes, every item in the fridge, every coffee cup was flipped.
Everything.
The table, the printer, the laptop.
Printer, and the table. Like there was a sofa
chairs.
in there too.
Did we get this? Was the sofa in there?
The sofa was in there. I don't think we flipped it. I think we just put it on its side.
Because we were like, nah, because it couldn't stand on its side.
Right, it couldn't stand.
Yeah.
But I wish you were a mastermind in flipping. He like all of a sudden like it's a different like tiled up to 11. And he's moving like a million miles an hour.
Well, because some of it is like it's not like I go into the room and I'm like, oh, I wonder what I could flip. But it was like there was probably like 2 or 3 minutes of like forethought to it, where it was like, okay, I knew based on like the conversation or whatever it was, they were gonna have to go out and help her aunt. So I'm like, okay, there's gonna be a point here in the next little bit where we're going to be able to do this. And I was just looking around. I'm like, okay, what do you flip? What do you flip? And then like, it's just like, boom, you got to go and you can't look back and you just like, do it gently, like do it safely, like don't break anything, but it's like, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it, flip it. And it's just like, okay. And it looks amazing. It's so innocent because like, it's not like you're breaking anything, but it's just like the fact that like everything's out of order makes people upset.
The funny, it's like progressively too, you don't realize something's flipped over.
Yes.
That's the funny, like, it could be, like, as little as, like, a coffee cup.
Yeah.
And it could have been flipped over for months. And then all of a sudden you're like, it's flipped. Or, like a soap bottle.
No, and it was weird. I think you told me, because, like, I flipped over the printer.
So
and
you could flip over the printer.
And I think it took them like a week to realize the
They
printer was
didn't
flipped
realize
over.
it took
And
them
then they
like
went
a
to
week.
print something, and they were like,
It came out like, I remember that because it's supposed to come off the top, and instead it came from the bottom, and so she's had her hand there to grab it, and it fell on the floor. And it still printed. It worked. It was fine, but she was like,
"What?"
And she looked at it's flipped upside down.
Yeah,
Good
that was
times.
funny.
That was.
We were talking about Jesus, weren't we?
Yeah, we were. I think so.
Okay. There was something really good that we were talking about, and then it was like delinquency for like 5 or 10 minutes.
we get sidetracked.
No, LOL. But it's just memories, bro. It's the good feels, the good vibes. I think we were just generally talking about. I mean, wow, yeah, Jesus. he's a good boy.
He is.
That good boy.
If you allow him, he'll work miracles in your life.
Yes. Oh, yes. And just the openness and everything. That's what I was gonna try to get at. Is church for me was the first place I really felt open. At least like at this level, like where we're like super comfortable talking,
yeah.
like. And maybe it was just like the rate at which I got to know people became much quicker or much like briefer, I guess. I don't know, like rate, but like it took me much less time to like feel comfortable talking to people. Like they're still like, okay, I meet you the first time. It's like, how you doing? And the second time, third time, but it's like, I remember like most of your friends from high school, it's like you've known them for 5, 6, 10 years. And it's like you've never had to make new friends again. But going into church, especially or the youth group, it was like, there are these new people that I have to learn to talk to and like possibly open up to. Because of course, like your friends in high school, it's like we're not super open. Not that it's like shallow, but like we know each other, so there's not a whole lot to cover on a daily basis.
Right. Yeah.
But it's like these church people, like they want to get to know you real quick. They want to get to know like the deepest parts of you real quick, and they do love you. But it's just like, am I comfortable sharing? and I had a guy, my friend Austin Parkman, who's actually going to be like, editing and producing all these. He was really helpful because we just like both played tennis and all that stuff. And he was, able to help me open up a little bit, but more so than him, at some point was his dad, because he was our table group leader, like our small group leader. Oh, okay. Like, so whenever like after, the message, we would have discussion and he would kind of like lead the small group discussion. And he was so open and so humble and so inviting and admittedly like questioning, just kind of like probing and poking at me, poking at both of us really to see like, okay, like what's going on here. And when we would open up, there was, people who would talk about like, struggles with like lust or drugs and alcohol. And it's like, he was so chill with it. And it's like, wait, we can talk about this actually. And seeing his response and how much he was able to put grace into those circumstances and situations, it like opened me up, because I'm like, okay, this really is a safe space. Right. And that is his grace and his openness, but that's also just a reflection of Christ's boundless grace and realizing, okay, if I can talk to Mr. Parkman about this, why wouldn't I talk to Jesus about this? Absolutely. Or God about this? Because he is a good father. And, seek and you shall find, ask and it shall be given to you. Like his spirit of peace will rest upon you. And it's like, that just takes that conversation. That takes openness and vulnerability like we were talking about. And you are so right when you say like it is heartbreaking that like it takes so long for us to realize how much we need to be open. Right. And people I know now, and like I'll have class with people or like, even my roommates sometimes, where it's like just kind of struggling to like, pick at the wall or pick at the barrier because there's something there, and it's like, okay, I don't want to be blunt about this, LOL.
Sorry, my dad's calling me.
It's all right, but it's like we want to be open, because being closed off, like there's people you're more or less comfortable around, but it's like being closed off entirely, like that's not a good situation to be in long term. It's not healthy for you.
No, absolutely. It's amazing that how many people, when they realize to be open, how effective it is. Mm-hmm. And it's like I always like to think of it like if you want someone to come in right into your life, or you want to like show, you can make like a metaphorical house, whatever, right? The grace and the love and mercy that God's given you, right? If that's the inside of your house, in order to show that, you got to open up the front door to let people in. And it's amazing how just when you open up to people and they realize, oh my gosh, this is okay. Yeah. How open, all of a sudden people are like, oh, well then, yeah, this is what I'm about.
Yeah. And sometimes that openness, like, makes people uncomfortable in terms of like, you know, if you misread the situation and you're like, hey, this is a very specific thing that I'm struggling with. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, I don't know how to deal with this.
You're right.
Right. And it's just like, maybe you should talk to someone else about that. And that's not even because they like, you know, don't care about you, but they just genuinely know like, I'm not the person to talk to right now. And, you know, just like yielding to a higher spiritual authority in that regard can also be helpful. Especially when it does come to like relationships and stuff like that. And I know you talked to earlier about like, I mean, you and I kind of talked through the early stages of your relationship with Emmy, and I remember those conversations. Yeah. Do you mind walking through with just those listening what it's been like for you to pursue her in college and just have this really God-honoring relationship? Because she's also at Wesley. You all serve together, which is amazing, and I'm sure that's part of the story. But it's like, how do you just have a relationship with God and her, and like the priorities that are involved in that, the decisions that y'all have to make together? Like, just walk us through some of that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the main thing that I would ever tell anybody is that when you're going into a relationship, so many people are so focused on the person themselves.
Right.
So if it's a romantic relationship, right? So you're so focused, in my case, like I was so focused on, okay, I want to find the right girl, right? I want but the biggest advice I can give, and this is something I did with Emmy. I was like, you know what, I'm going to give this. I'm going to trust God on this. Is that make God number one going into it, no matter what. You make God number one, understanding that God has plans for you and you have a spot in his kingdom, right? And knowing that God's will should be your will. So that was the first thing I did. I said, God's going to be number one in my life, right? No matter what.
Yeah.
And so when I meet somebody and I get close to them, I make it very clear, like, listen, you know, I like you, right? But I need you to know that my faith, my Lord Jesus Christ, God is number one in my life. And, you know, if this goes further, that's great. I want it to, but God is number one.
Right.
And the best part about it is, and I really hope that for those who don't necessarily haven't found that person yet, they would understand that, like, when you find that person, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because as soon as they say it, the best thing, one of the most relieving things ever is when I first met Emmy, I met her at Wesley. Yeah. I met her at a Halloween costume party because we don't celebrate Halloween, but what we do is we have a talent show. We call it Wesley Night Live. Oh. And you dress up. We have a dressing up competition, but it's usually a no talent show. Basically, we try to make each other laugh.
Gotcha.
And I dressed up as a truck driver, and I had,
you and Nolan?
Huh?
Was that when you and Nolan did it, or no?
Nolan didn't do it. He wanted to do it with me.
Okay.
Actually, he might have.
Yeah.
He might have done it. You know what? You're right. I think he did do it. What had happened was I had a net hat like I have on now, and I had jeans, my boots, and I had a white T-shirt, and I was going to put like little dots of ketchup like you're eating something while you're driving. Yeah. And say I was a truck driver because my dad did that. And the ketchup packet exploded on my shirt.
Oh, gosh.
And so I smelled like straight up ketchup for the whole night. But she dressed up as a reindeer. And I thought that was so clever. Christmas and Halloween, I would have never thought of that. Right. And so we ended up talking, but and we were friends first because we were seeing different people, but we became friends, which is also something I recommend. You know, you don't need to jump into a romantic relationship. Yeah. You really don't. And especially if you, again, that kind of helps having God number one in your life. If you have God number one in your life, you realize that it's not about, you're not trying to just find someone to be a kissing partner. You know, you're not trying to find the physical stuff. You're really trying to find someone who can be there for you and be a partner in your journey and your walks in faith together, and be together and find that connection in faith. And Emmy, as soon as we ended up knowing each other for a long time, it ended up where I was single, she was single, and we continued to let it grow, our friendship, and then we went into, we want this to be a thing. Right. And to be official, but that was the first thing I told her. I said, listen, I need to tell you this. This is weighing on my heart, but I need you to understand. I want this to continue, but God's got to be number one. Yeah. God has plans for me. I want to do his work. I want to serve my Lord and Savior. He's got to be number one. And she said, you have no idea how relieving that is to hear that. Because too many people say that, you know, I'm going to be committed to our relationship. I'm all in for our relationship. Right. That's great. How's your relationship with God, though?
It's a good word.
and it's been one of the best things that's happened is that we've really found that connection. And you don't necessarily, finding that connection and letting people understand that this is important to you.
Yeah.
That God's important to you, and you want this. You want this more than just something physical. Mm-hmm. Yes, you might be attracted to said person. Yes, you might think they're pretty or handsome or whatever, right? You like how
that's a good
smile.
Thing.
It's a good thing. That's,
God wired you for a connection. Like, it's not a bad thing to feel that way, but
absolutely not.
Yeah,
and it's great to feel that way, but it's so really, especially and hearing it, the other person hearing it is so relieving to hear that you're not just about the attraction. You're about the longevity of actually building a relationship and getting connected. It's like a bro relationship, right? Bromancing, right? You're not in it because even though Cody's a good-looking guy.
Oh, thank you.
Right? I'm not gonna go on a date with Cody.
Riley's a pretty sexy stud himself.
Oh, but we're not going to go on dates, but we're going to continue building our relationship. Yeah. Where, again, that iron sharpens iron mentality. It also applies not to maybe the same caliber in different aspects, but it applies to your romantic relationships just
really good.
As much. Because you want to be this has been always my goal.
Right.
My goal in life is to make, in our romantic relationship between Emmy and I, Emmy is the best person she can be when she's around me, or when I'm not around her. But our relationship has helped her strengthen in her faith and her walk with Christ,
right?
And at the same time has made her a better person. And she said the same for me. She wants to make it where I'm a better person because of her influence in my life, and it's an amazing connection. I know it takes some people get worried about that, about not finding the one, but it's okay. There's to make a beautiful sculpture, it takes time. You don't want to rush, right? You never want to rush whatever you're doing in a project, anything. You want to make it perfect in the details. Yeah. Right? And it's the same thing. If you trust in God, God will put the timing. He'll put that person in your life. And I'm just so blessed that Emmy is definitely the person in my life.
Yeah. That's so good, and I loved how you just brought it all back to Scripture. Proverbs 27 again. We're like, as iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another, and that, because I've always heard it in the team mentality or brothers mentality, but to put that into the context of a romantic relationship, I think really exemplifies the heart of it, at least as Scripture talks about it and as God sees it, is hey, this is first and foremost a friendship, and we've learned to put different labels on it to help clarify what this is socially, that we're kind of thinking about marriage and especially in a Christian relationship, really thinking about the prospect of marriage. And it's those labels are helpful, but what it really is friendship. And it's two people, not man and man two bros, but two people walking through life together, sharpening one another. And the sculpture that you talked about, it's you're literally chiseling away the rough edges. And I think you're really using your relationship with God to do that for each other, because you're not only encouraging one another in the faith, but you do have that element of correction, because there's points where it's I've got stuff to work on. And, if there's something that I do that is hurtful to anybody, it's probably going to be most hurtful to the person who loves me most, right, who cares about me most. So they have the greatest incentive of all to point you back to Scripture, to point you back to the truth and what, the Lord says about how we should live our lives and how we should conduct ourselves in relationship with one another. And that's really, really big. And I love, y'all's relationship. I'm just shipping y'all 175%, because y'all are super cute. And I don't know, I take a little bit credit and making it happen. Just it's all right. It's what it is. But dang, it's just so good to see y'all. And I think especially in College Station, I've been really blessed to see tons of God honoring relationships and tons of examples of people pursuing Christ and one another with just 110% effort, but also through that realizing that there's not one cookie cutter way to do it. Exactly. A Christian dating relationship, you put more labels on it, but that doesn't make it any more specific in just the basic sense of what kind of dates do we go on, or right, what kind of things can we talk about and stuff like that. It's you are just going at it from a different perspective. You know, there's no extra added performance that you have to do to make sure that it's a Christian dating relationship as opposed to a dating relationship as opposed to a friendship, because really all three of those can be one and the same.
They can, yeah.
You know, and they all can honor the Lord, which is really, really big. And I think the biggest misconception that I've had, at least like, you know, in my own personal walk, is like, man, I need another person to be able to glorify the Lord better. You know, that if I don't have this relationship, if I'm not marked by it, then it's like, then there's something missing, you know, there's something lacking. But it's like Christ fills that gap better than any other person here on earth could ever do. Yeah.
I know, absolutely. It's very much like, you brought it up, like, you know, that Jesus can be that person that, like, is when you're not necessarily with somebody, can be that person next to you that helps you walk in your faith. But it reminds me of that. I don't know, I'm sure you've heard the example of, like, you know, when I'm walking on the beach, right?
Yeah.
And there's two sets of footprints in the sand.
Okay.
Right? And he goes, where were you when there was only one set of footprints? Right? And referring to Jesus, and he goes, I was the one carrying you. And I was the one with you on my back. And it's the same thing, is that Christ is always going to be there regardless. He wants to be there. He wants to be in your life. And for those who like don't necessarily have someone there, that's okay. You know, that's absolutely okay, because you can grow. You still can continue to grow. And that I've heard that misconception so much, or I need someone in my life. I need a romantic relationship. No, you don't. You don't need that. You don't need it. What you really need is to really, if you have those moments, you're not with someone, take that time for you. That's okay. That's a great thing to take time for you. Yeah. And you don't need it, right? And God will provide. If it's in His will, God will provide.
Yeah. And it's like, and it's interesting because, like, even if it's not in His will at this point in time, it's like, it doesn't mean that, like, He doesn't want you to be happy. No. You know, it's like, it doesn't mean that He doesn't want you to be fulfilled. He'll never leave you somewhere where, you know, you can't glorify Him, where He can't be glorified and everything like that. And you said it really, really well in terms of just like, He will be that extra, like, He will be the footprints in the sand. Like, He will be the one carrying you through the valley of the shadow of death, you know, and there's no reason to fear. I mean, whether it be evil or loneliness or just like this state, like, it truly is this feeling of loneliness and this isolation rather than the reality, you know, and we're so physical in that we like what we can see, we like what we can touch and feel. So in that sense, a physical relationship with a person is extremely, you know, gratifying and pleasing, but it is always a gift. You know, and in the same way that grace is a gift, in the same way that Christ is a gift, it's fundamentally something that we don't deserve to have, and something that we have no right to expect on our own accord. And there's nothing we could ever do to earn it. It's truly something that God has to give us. And when He gives it to us, if He gives it to us, it'll be in His timing. You know, and if it's not a physical relationship here while we walking on the earth, it's like, it's an eternal relationship with Him. And that's not, you know, I guess that's not a trading down, that's trading up.
Yeah, it is.
You know, it's always trading up if you're going from, you know, something here to something eternal, to something, you know, holy and righteous as Christ truly is. It's like, we get to be His bride, bro. You know, I could rock a dress. I can dig it.
I don't want to see you in a dress yet.
Not yet. We'll get there. But there's still some things that Riley and I are working on. We're not that comfortable.
I love you, bro. I'm not going to see you in a dress.
Well, you might not have a choice. You got a phone, don't you? You don't know me.
It's
I'd have to pay for it. I don't want to do that.
I'm not.
I ain't even renting it.
It's, you know, it always brings me so much comfort to know also that I'm never alone. Yeah. And it brings me so much comfort to know that God is always there. You know, the Holy Spirit works through me. It's always so satisfying to know that no matter, you know, maybe there's not someone in my life right now that's like a romantic, like maybe I'm not dating anybody, or maybe, you know, all my friends are at home, or my family's away, or I'm in college. It's so nice to know, though, but that one thing, this one, like that one song, this one thing remains.
Yeah.
And it's always God, and you can always turn to God, and He will provide. He provided for you to come to this point. There's no way I am capable of getting into A&M on my own accord.
Yeah.
It's through God helped me through trials. He put me, where I needed to be. He set me in location around the people I need to be where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
And even if I wasn't supposed to be in A&M, He's still going to provide a way for me to be where I need to be to do His works.
Yeah.
And it is so satisfying to know that no matter what's going on, if I'm really feeling lonely or anything like that, that I know that God is always there, and I can talk to Him whenever. It takes 2 seconds to get, being in a private area, right? Or even you don't have to do it in a private area, but just to take some reflection time, pray, and just talk to God. And I need you to be by me right now. I'm feeling a little alone. It's so nice to know, literally, the Creator who knitted you in your mother's womb, right, is with you all the time. All the time. He made everything. And now He's right by you. Always. He's not leaving. He's with you over here. He's with you over here. Oh, that trip you're going on? Yeah, He's going too. For free.
You don't got to pay for His ticket.
You don't have to pay for His ticket.
He's keeping the plane up.
Yeah, he's the one who made the plane. He's the one that made the sky. You're going through the plane.
It's a brain blast, courtesy of Riley Bowles.
Brain blast.
Got a blast.
Got a blast.
It's okay, man. That's such a good word, and I can't think of a better way to finish that episode off or this episode off, man. It's been so good having you on. It's always a blessing talking to you. Me. Yeah, to get to know you. You got all this wisdom, all this love, all this servant heartedness about you. Thanks. Got this wicked sexy smile. We're goofy. It's fine.
We're goofy.
Yeah. All right, but tradition has it that you could pray us out. Are you good with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I'd love to. So, dear and Father God, we just thank You for this time, Lord, that Cody and I can have some nice bro fellowship, Lord, and talk about You, talk about our lives, and talk about how You work in them every day. Lord, I pray for those who are listening, Lord, that You just bless their hearts, Lord. Know that You're walking with them no matter what circumstance in life, whether it be joys or concerns, Lord, that You are there and You are present. And Your love is just unlimited, Lord, especially for them. I just pray for guidance, Lord, for those who need it. I just pray You would always continue to remind us that You are merciful, You're gracious, and You are loving, and You love us unconditionally. And I pray this all in Your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Riley Bowles.
Of course. Thank you, bud.